Welcome to Stellar Sisters, the podcast where cosmic wisdom meets soul-enriching conversation.
We explore astrology, human design, and the unique blueprint of your soul, helping you understand yourself on a deeper level.
Consider this your permission slip to embrace the magic of being authentically you.
Let's begin.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Stellar Sisters Podcasts. I'm your host, Shaniel. We have your host, Sydney, here. And today we have a very special episode of the podcast because we're doing a live reading with our giveaway winner, Katie Surbeck. So welcome, Katie, to the podcast. We're so excited to have you here.
Hi, yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
And so we're going to do a little joint reading. Sydney's going to start us out with an overview of your human design, and then I'll jump in at the end and we'll do an astrology reading. And it just seems so divinely timed and planned that you just so happen to be the winner of the of the giveaway because there's just so much, I think, going on astrologically in your chart that I'm excited to get into with you. And like we were talking about, today is the full moon in Aquarius, and you are in Aquarius sun and have an Aquarius stellium. So it's just no coincidence that you happen to win this. And we're recording this on the Aquarius full moon that is lighting up your chart and your energy. So very excited to get into it with you.
Yes, I'm so excited. Everything's always so divinely timed, We couldn't have planned it better.
No, truly. All right, Sid, so do you want to kind of kick us off with some human design stuff for Katie?
Yes. So, Katie, first question for you is just tell us a little bit about when you found human design and if you feel like you understand your strategy and authority, and if do you feel like you're practicing them?
Okay, so I found human design in probably 2020. I feel like a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And I think I understand it pretty well. I struggle with trusting it, I think. I also think I overanalyze a little bit. Like I'll be feeling that I think it's my not self theme is what it's called, is frustration.
Yeah.
And I'll be feeling that, but I can't pinpoint why a lot of the times. So I guess I understand it, but it's hard for me to implement and know what do I do with that information.
Okay.
I think that's probably my biggest struggle with human design.
Okay. So let's go over your strategy and authority a bit more. And you have emotional authority, but you do have two emotional waves. So, that's just an extra layer. And just off the bat, that tells me that you're here to kind of be a leader with emotional intelligence, and cultivate that. And your chart has so much openness, above the sacral center. You're completely open. Your heart center, your G center, your throat, your ajna, and your head are all open. So you have immense empathy, and you're constantly taking in other people's thoughts, ideas. You're here to be a voice for other people because you have empathy for what they're trying to say. And sometimes with an undefined throat is pretty rare. Only 29% of the population have an undefined throat. So you're here to amplify people's voices. And with the open G center, you're here to feel all these people's direction and identity and where they're going. And sometimes it can be confusing of what's my identity and where am I going? And with the open heart, your G center and your open heart are completely open. And I have so many things to say. It's all coming at once. Since you have single definition, so all of those centers that are defined are all connected to each other and they're all talking to each other. So you can process information quickly, but because you have those two completely open centers, that's where you're taking in the most conditioning. So it can feel okay, it can kind of feel like with the open ego, am I worthy for this thing, because you're taking in conditioning from other people. You could be around somebody with an unhealthy ego center or an unhealthy G center and take it in, and it can kind of feel like hard to discern like what's yours and what's not because you're just taking all of it in it at once. Um, so
This is so interesting. And I'm just going to interject myself here for a second because I didn't mention this in the beginning, but Katie and I have been like internet friends for like quite a few years now, and she is a psychic. And you can find her at Katie Surbeck on Instagram. She's amazing. I've had a personal reading with her. And so I just wanted to mention that because I didn't mention that in the beginning. But like everything that you're saying, Sydney, like I'm sure that has to resonate very strongly with you, Katie.
Yes, when I almost interjected to like yeah, like, oh yeah, that explains everything. And I've had my charts, astrology and human design read in the past, like years ago, and they always say, "Oh yeah, you're a psychic." Like, "Oh yeah." And it just everything you're saying, yes, 100% resonates.
I mean, I wanted to talk about your strategy and authority first, but you just have so many, yeah, you have so many markers for that too. I mean, not only all the undefined centers at the top, but like you have gate 61 and gate 43, and those are both about having intuitive insights, and coming through. And then you also have a couple, I'll get into your channels because they're super interesting, but a lot of your channels are about sensing people's needs and wants. So
Mm.
it's just, you have a lot in your chart that supports that. Um, but just to get into your strategy and authority, you're a generator in human design. So you do have your sacral defined. And when you're in alignment, you're going to feel satisfaction. And when you're out of alignment, your not self theme is frustration. So with that defined sacral, you're really meant to use your energy on things that light you up, right? That you love, that light you up, that feel good for you. The more you use that sacral energy on things that light you up, the more you're going to spread that life force energy to really everybody around you. And then you're conditioning them with your healthy sacral, right? So it's really important that you check in with yourself when you're feeling those themes of frustration. Um, and you feel like you're kind of getting ahead of yourself. You want to check in with your body and you want to ask yourself, what am I being drawn towards in this moment? What's in front of me right now? How does my body feel about it? And can I listen? And that's really like a supportive guiding compass for you, if you will, to kind of get yourself out of your mind and into your body. And also, since you have like a completely open head and mind, it's really important for you to go be by yourself. And I'm sure since you're a psychic, you know how to clear your energy off
Mhm.
of you, and you probably have a good system for that. But like, so important that you go clear that out. Um, and really try to tap into your body. And you can start practicing that with small things like food, and email, something you have to do for work. Like ask yourself, okay, like this email's in front of me. Do I feel like I have the energy to do it? Can you listen to your body and say yes or no in that moment,
Mm.
And then same with like something that you're going to eat that day, like, does this feel good to me? Do I want to eat this? Or I'm just eating it because I feel like I should, because it's the last thing in my fridge, because somebody made it for me. Like, if it's a no, don't eat it. The more you do that with those like really small things, the more you're going to start to understand those sacral responses and be able to use like that life force energy. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's so helpful. I love the little things. I definitely, so it probably reflects it in both of my charts. I'm a huge people pleaser.
Yeah.
And I think I definitely don't ask myself those questions enough. So that's really, really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, and with being a generator, just a kind of a daily practice for you, you can kind of think of your energy like a forest, and like you have all of these trees in your forest, and you don't have like to plant a new seed, right? You need to have take away some of the dead stuff and kind of ask yourself, like, okay, what am I using my energy on that's kind of feeling like drudging through the mud and just not supportive for me, and like I have to force myself to do it. Those are like the trees you can kind of start to cut out of your life. And you don't have to do all of them all at the same time. You can just pick one and focus on that. But, in order to start working on other things that you love and starting new projects or whatever, you do need to kind of like focus on, like, okay, what are these energetic drains that are happening in my life?
Mm.
Um, and just to touch on, well, I want to talk about your emotional authority. um, so you can use your sacral authority, like I was just talking about, when you're making those small, like little daily decisions throughout the day. But when it comes to big decisions, you really want to use your emotional authority. You know, starting a new job, entering a new relationship, moving, those big life decisions, whatever, it could be something small to somebody else, but if it's a big decision to you, you really want to sit with it and take time, since you have emotional authority. And you really don't want to make a decision when you're in the high or on the low in your wave. Um, and you really want to ask yourself, when you're in that neutral place, like, is this going to make me happy? Do you
Mm.
feel like you have a good sense for when you're neutral?
I'd say most of the time. Um, I'd say most of the time, I think I just get annoyed. And this is like a personal problem, I'm sure, but I just get annoyed, like, because when I feel the really heightened emotions, I really feel it. And then I'm like, why am I so worked up about this? But yeah, I'm pretty good about it. Like, I won't make any decisions when I'm feeling that like real emotional intensity. It's like a rule I
Yeah.
have with myself.
Yeah. Okay,
Like I
good.
won't, yeah. It's a practice though. It's a
It is.
practice.
I have two emotional waves too. I don't have the exact same channels that you have, but I have the same waves. And yeah, it can be intense. Especially when you're on the low. Like there's just no truth in the now. So most likely if you try to have a conversation or like try to get your point across when you're in the low, it's just there's no truth there and it's not going to land, and it's just better to say, like, okay, I need to take a break and come back to this when I'm just on a low right now in my wave, like it's going to pass.
Mm-hmm.
um and yeah, you really need time to sit with it, whatever the decision is. And even if it's like somebody invites you to something that's 2 weeks from now, just say, like, yeah, I'll sleep on it, let me check my calendar or talk to my partner or whoever, and I'll get back to you. you know so just give yourself that time. And then get in more specifically to your two channels. You have channel 19 to 49. So this is a community emotional wave. And then you have an abstract wave, which is 30 to 41. So 19 to 49, it's more of like subtle highs and lows, but what happens with this one, I have this wave too. I just have the other channel of it. But it can kind of have this outburst of emotion that builds over time. And for you, once you have this like outburst, it can feel like, okay, like I'm fine, like I'm back to neutral and it's like, I'm good. But other people around you can be like, what the fuck was that outburst? What was that tantrum? And like, it can kind of be kind of shocking to someone else. And you're just like, what?
Do I
Like,
have this? Or I mean,
no, you don't have this one.
okay.
But it can, yeah, you can be like, oh, like, I'm good. Like, I'm back to normal. And the other person's just like, whoa, like, I need a break from you right now. Um, so with this one, it's really important to communicate your emotional needs. That can really help you. Um, so other people aren't so rocked by your outbursts. And you can just say, like, I just need time to vent right now, or like, I'm sorry, like that was just like an emotional outburst that I had. Like, we're good, I'm good, like nothing's wrong. um so if you can communicate your emotional needs more, the less outbursts will happen typically. um But it can really feel like this one, like the entire weight of the world's on your shoulders sometimes. And communicating your needs is not going to feel natural. It's not going to feel easy. It's going to be a continued practice. I am, well, this is going to be a lifelong lesson for me to practice it. You're never going to be perfect with it, but the more you can practice doing it, it's not going to have this huge outburst that comes with it. Um, and good medicine for this one is physical touch. So, like a hug or a massage or petting your, do you have an animal?
Yes, I have a dog and a cat.
Okay. Petting your animals, snuggling with them. Like that's really good medicine for this, or putting on music while you're working, or touching your food or smelling your food, like sensual things like that. That's good medicine for this weight, like when you're on a low. So when you're on the low, like put on a song that makes you feel moody and bluesy and just kind of ride the wave with that. Um,
Yeah, that is beyond accurate. My poor boy, my poor boyfriend sometimes. Like, we were watching Love Island, and I kid you not, someone got voted off, and I cried really hard for like 10 straight minutes. And he's like, "Are you good? Like, this is like, like, he's like, I feel like this isn't really a normal reaction. Like, you don't even like this person." And then I was fine. I was like, "Yeah, I'm good now."
oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean that's what it feels like. It's
Yeah.
like,
And
yep.
I'm like, it's just so sad
Yeah.
because he didn't get to say goodbye, and like just on and on. And then I was like, oh, I just needed to cry. I'm good.
Yeah. Yes. But that's a healthy way to express your emotions, like just letting it out and crying over that thing that happened in the show instead of trying to hold it in. So that's one way you are a leader with that emotional intelligence. And that's really where we're moving towards as a collective in general. Like, I mean, at least I've seen so many people over the past, even I feel like a decade now, like really starting to learn about their emotions and teach about their emotions. And that's just where we're headed. So you really are a leader with this to have both of these waves. But the other one is called the abstract wave. This is your channel 30 to 41. And this one, Chanel, you have this. You have the other wave. But this one, I have this same channel too. So we all have it. Um, but this one experiences the biggest highs and the biggest lows. And it's all about your expectations and your desires. So what happens is you can have these really high highs and these really low lows, and the low lows can come from creating, especially with this gate 41, this is your sun gate. This is like dreaming up these expectations, this thing that's going to happen, and then it not happening the way you expected it to happen, and then just crashing really hard. And it can feel like it's like rocking you to your core. Like it can feel painful. I feel like I have this happen to me a lot, even with the small things. Like I'll be like, all right, my husband's gonna have dinner at 5:30, we're gonna eat it, and then I'll have time to put my daughter down and she won't get overly tired and it'll be great. And then like the timeline doesn't happen exactly as I expected, and like I'll crash into this low where I'm just like irritated and moody for like the rest of the night. And it's not helpful for anyone. So it's really about trying to focus on releasing your expectations and just reminding yourself like whatever happens, happens. Like you're meant to have these dreams and create these desires, but not every single one has to take action on it, you know?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel like
Read,
I'm getting a
yeah.
reading here.
Yeah. I was gonna say, read me for filth. I can't wait to tell my boyfriend this because literally, I'm not even kidding. 2 nights ago, he got home from work earlier than usual, and I was a crab the whole rest of the night. And I was like, why am I such a crab about this? But I had it in my head, I would get home, I'd have this amount of time to do what I needed, and then we'd have dinner and blah blah blah. Yeah. Yeah, that was very accurate.
yep. Yeah, that one's tough. Like it's tough to release your expectations around certain things, especially if you feel like you're on a tight timeline and you want to get stuff done. Um, but if you can try to do that, it'll just make it a little bit easier. You won't have the as big of a low or a high. But you are really meant to learn from the low. You're here to grow from experiencing those lows. That's just part of it. Anybody with the solar plexus defined is meant to learn from their emotions. Um, and just ride the wave because if you try to like go against the wave, it's going to crash on you, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the biggest thing. And just being authentic with your emotions and being real and vulnerable with sharing them, that's really going to develop that deeper emotional intelligence that you can then teach to others. So a good mantra for this one is just keep telling yourself like this will pass. If you feel like you're in that painful low, like it will go away. It's not going to last forever. And you can ask yourself like what am I learning from this? What is it teaching me? So, any other questions about your strategy and authority?
No, I think that was great. It was all, I feel very seen and heard right now.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I just want to talk about your other channels really quickly before Chanel goes in. There's just so much to tell you. Don't have enough time. Um, so just going back to channel 19 to 49, that's connecting your solar plexus to your root. That's part of your emotional wave. And this one, you have your sun, or I'm sorry, you have Venus in 49, and then you have Uranus in 19. But, having Uranus in 19, it's just what really makes you different and stand out. And gate 19 is all about being tuned into sensing what others are needing and wanting. So I feel like this one's a big one for you, especially because it's part of your, emotional wave. Just really having this desire to support your community, to support their basic physical needs, to support their spiritual human needs. Like you can really sense what people need and want. And the lowest expression of this is people pleasing or overgiving or feeling bitter because, you gave something to someone and they're not, reciprocating. Um, so that's the low expression here. And to get out of that, you really want to tune into your strategy and authority with it. Like, will this actually make me happy to do this thing for this person? And sometimes it's not even about doing it for them, it's just about telling them what you see, could help them, could help their basic needs. And that can be enough. You don't actually have to do it for them. Trying to focus on that a bit more and really tuning in, like, will this make me happy with your emotional authority? Does that make sense?
Yes, that is
Okay.
incredibly helpful. That's something I think's been very intense for me, particularly the last couple years, is I will like give and give and give and give and give. And I get really upset if it's not appreciated or like reciprocated. And I think it plays into my own expectations, like we just talked about.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, that's very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Okay, and then the other channel that you have 50 to 27. So this is connecting your spleen to your sacral. And this one kind of goes along with what I just said, but you're here to infuse your own values and your integrity into your responsibility to lead others. So you again have this deep compassion for your community and your family and desire to support them and protect them and care for them. Like you have both of those channels, like they're essentially kind of meaning similar things. Um, but the thing here is to see what everyone needs to be supported and just feeling that deep love and compassion and responsibility to support them, but then using your strategy and authority to feel into like what to do with that. But this one, my teachers call gate 50, they call the Oprah gate. So it's just
Mm.
like you're meant to play big with this energy. And the more you play big, the more people are supported. So you really are meant to infuse your own values and integrity on and seeing how other people can be supported by that. But again, like you don't have to actually do all of the things. It's like saying what's needed. And it's just like a big leadership energy with this channel here.
Mm.
Um, and then channel,
He's got Oprah energy. Okay.
yeah.
Watch out, guys. I'll remember. I'll remember you when I have my house in Hawaii.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty rare to have both of those channels, you know?
Wow.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And then channel 3 to 60. Um, 60 is one of your moon gates and it's both of your Neptune gates. Yeah. Um, so this is where you're going to experience spiritual growth with the Neptune gate and with the moon, it's just like the qualities that kind of calm your emotional world and what drives you. And um, this channel is all about being gifted at making progress, solving problems, transcending limitations, like in a physical and energetic sense. So it's very entrepreneurial. Like, yeah, it's huge entrepreneurial energy. You can really, gate 3 is about seeing what needs to be reordered to then be able to and problem solve. Like, okay, this is a more efficient way to do this thing. And then gate 60 is really about putting it into motion and taking action on it. And the thing to know about this though is that with this channel, it can kind of feel like an arrow. Like there is going to be a pause at times. So when you're pulling back the arrow, it's kind of like this pause and you're not going to be able to make forward motion on it. So recognizing when there are periods of pause in your life and when you need to take time and like just okay, I need to pause. I don't need to take action on this thing. But then knowing, once the arrow's in motion again, that's when you're going to make all of the progress and take action on the things. A lot of therapists, coaches, people helping others on an energetic side have this channel. So this is a really big energy too. And with this, pause is productive for you. And a good mantra is just, I embrace, exactly where I am today with this channel.
Mm. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense because outside of being a psychic, my career has very much been like COO running other people's businesses for them,
Wow.
seeing what works. I'm working part-time somewhere right now, and that's literally what my role is like seeing what's working, what's not, changing it up, doing
No
different things.
way.
But I definitely struggle in readings as well. I'll just have these stretches of time where I'm like, I cannot do readings this week. Like it just needs to just be a break, be a pause. Um,
Mm,
and that's hard to do in a traditional work environment. Like, whoa, we need to
yeah.
just slow down and like think about this and plan it a little more. And yeah, you have no idea how accurate that was.
Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy. I can't believe that. Yeah, that's incredible. Okay. Last
I
thing I
love
want to
that.
quickly touch on before Chanel gets into your transits is your incarnation cross. Just a brief summary of that. Um, you have the right angle cross of the unexpected, and your life theme is really to indulge in the unexpected. Um, expect unexpected things to happen in your life.
Mm-hmm.
The unexpected things are going to be here to kind of have you make a discovery and then, bring it forward to then help other people, help the collective in some way. Um, and since your son is in that gate 41 that I was talking about, where you're like dreaming up different things, you're really moved to create. You have a drive to like imagine new things. Um, and then kind of lead by example and influence the collective to move towards a different direction in some way. And then with your other conscious or with your unconscious son in gate 28, it's about taking meaningful risks, like not afraid of a challenge, as long as it's meaningful to you in some way. Not because it's meaningful to somebody else or something that you feel like you should do, but like taking on a risk because you believe in it in some way. And then the way you can ground that is by gate 27, just kind of nurturing and wanting to care for other people or their ideas or their systems. Um, so you're really here to just kind of walk into the unknown with this. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
That's just a quick summary of that. There's more to say, but I want
Yeah.
Nell to have time.
It's hard. But something that did help me was I think Barbara Streisand has the same one. And
Mm.
so picking up her book, which is really long, by the way, I was still like listening to it. It's like a textbook, but seeing all the different iterations of her life and how she's a lot more fearless than me, I think, but she'll just hop into something with full confidence, and then she's singing, and then she's acting, and then she's doing this, and then she's doing this movie just for fun, and then she's doing a play. It's really fun to see it play out in real time with someone else's life, so that's been
Mm.
helpful. But it's challenging because I don't like the unexpected.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's so interesting because we'll get into your chart in a minute, but I mean, you have your Sun conjunct Neptune exactly, which I know we've spoken about previously, Katie, which is, highly, highly, highly intuitive. Someone who is extremely sensitive to Neptune represents, the ineffable, the spiritual, that which you cannot feel, taste, touch. It is the planet of spirituality. So your Sun conjunct Neptune is what makes you so highly intuitive and empathic and sensitive. But then you also have Uranus there too. Uranus isn't as close of a conjunction with your Sun as Neptune is, but Uranus is exactly what Sydney's saying, like the unexpected, something
Mm.
that's different, something that's unusual, um, something that stands out from a crowd, something that makes you unique, is that energy that's also tied into your
Mm.
Sun, your personality, your life force energy. So it's so interesting how everything just plays in together.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that, all the parallels.
Yeah. Um, so cool. I loved that, Sid. That was like so interesting.
Yeah.
Um, any like questions or last minute like thoughts or anything about any of that?
It was all so good. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I think you giving me the little action steps is incredibly helpful because,
Mm.
like I said in the beginning, it's like, how do I implement that?
Yeah.
Um, and it makes it a lot less overwhelming, especially as somebody that apparently has a lot of feelings.
Yes.
It makes it really easy and actionable when I'm going through those things. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. Mm.
So cool. Okay, great. Um, so we'll kind of transition over to your birth chart reading. And what I will do is I'm going to share my screen and put your chart up on the screen, so we can see what we're working with. Um, if you are listening, you can watch this on YouTube. We'll put this on YouTube so you can see the chart, if you're interested in that. Um, but yeah, so here's your chart. Can you guys see that on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, so what I have up here is your natal chart is this inner wheel here. And what I have on the outer wheel here is your solar return for your most recent birthday. Oh, wait, I think I have your birthday wrong on this because I had this. It's January 22nd, not the 23rd.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's right. Okay. So what I have here is your natal chart in the inner wheel and your solar return chart on the outer wheel. And so your birthday was in January, so we're about a little over 6 months into this solar return. So we'll talk a little bit about kind of the energy for this year and going into next year too. So where I usually start with a reading is with your age. So you are 26, and in astrology, 26 is associated with the third house. So this tells me right off the bat that the third house topics are going to be something that's pretty prominent in this year of life. And there's another layer to this as well, because we also have the South Node currently moving through Virgo, which is your third house. And we have the eclipses happening in Virgo this year, which is your third house as well. So there's actually a lot of third house energy for you in this year. And so the third house is all about communication, learning, reading, writing, speaking, teaching, exercising your mind, putting that your mind to like use in some way. And with the South Node and in Virgo and the eclipses here, the South Node is really a letting go energy, a disseminating energy. And so to me, this feels like a big year where you are really communicating. Like, you are meant to share your truth. You are meant to like get your message across. You are really meant to share what you know with the South Node and the eclipses there. And that eclipse is really changing a lot in the way that you communicate and your communication style. And so we have an eclipse in Virgo actually coming up pretty soon here. I think it's September 21st is our eclipse in Virgo, if I
Yeah, that's right.
okay, yeah. Um, and so this eclipse cycle coming up, it's really going to be like pushing you even further into this, So um again, like very strong energy about needing to communicate, like get the information out that you want to say. Does that resonate with you, Katie? Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. I feel like this year I just feel a lot different. I don't know. I like woke up one day and I just felt like a fire got lit under my butt almost. And I
Yeah.
just feel a lot like I'm showing up a lot differently in my life. And I can't pinpoint exactly like when that happened, but it definitely, yes, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have a lot going on. I mean, Jupiter is currently in Cancer in your first house of self, which is like a rebirth, a renewal of self and identity. It's a very beautiful energy for you to kind of like step into really this next chapter, this next iteration of self, and really figuring out, what do I need to nurture myself, to take care of myself, with that Jupiter in the first. And Jupiter in the first, I find that the first house is the only house that represents you. And so it can manifest in a lot of different ways: home, relationships, career. With Jupiter in the first, it's kind of like you have a lot of good things going for you there, with Jupiter in the first, which is also interesting. Um, so
Yay.
with you being in a third house year and your third house being ruled by Mercury, that makes Mercury your Time Lord of the year. So you actually have Mercury natally in Capricorn in the seventh house. And actually we have transiting Mercury as well in the seventh house. So this also tells me that seventh house themes will be pretty prominent for you this year as well. And the seventh house is the house of relationships. Um, and the house of romantic relationships and marriage, and all kind of close one-on-one relationships there with the seventh house. So a very big emphasis on relationships, because it's both natally and with the solar return energy. So both of your Mercuries are there in the seventh house. So there's a very big seventh house theme here of relationships. So this can be deepening connections with a relationship, taking the next step in a relationship, really focusing on relationships. And there's some sort of connection. Maybe this third house energy has to do with your relationships, like you are communicating differently, you're speaking up differently, you're advocating for yourself differently. in relationships because your Mercury is tied to the third house. So maybe there's some sort of change or lessons or something like that coming up with relationships and communication as well. Does that make sense?
Totally. On multiple different levels. Well, for starters, I just moved in with my boyfriend. There you go. But I've had to communicate and establish boundaries in everything with everyone lately. So that makes,
Wow.
and that's something I like never did before.
Yeah.
But literally like, usually in a good way, I'm really
Mhm.
lucky I have people in my life that, are receptive to hearing things, but literally like in career, in my relationship, in friendships, in family, I've had to just really step up communication.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And it sounds like it's been productive for you. But it is kind of like exercising a new muscle, that this year is really having you exercise that and
Mm-hmm.
rehearse that.
It's a challenging. I've had to lose some connections this year, unfortunately, but it's a practice. We're getting there.
Yeah, yeah, but if that's like friendships or connections, that could definitely be tied to that Uranus transit in your 11th house, which is changing your friendships, your social circles, people that you once connected with. Maybe you're vibrating on different frequencies now. And that's all part of the plan and the process and your maturation into this next step and next iteration of self, which we will also kind of get into because you're starting to enter your Saturn return. So let's table that for a couple of minutes. That's a big thing that's happening. Um, okay, so one of the biggest things that I see when I'm looking at your chart is this Pluto transit that you're having. You're pretty much in it now, but as we get into 2026 and 2027, you're going to definitely feel it if you're not already feeling that energy now. So, let's see, your sun here is at 2 degrees of Aquarius in the 8th house. And at the time of your solar return, Pluto is at 1 degree of Aquarius. And so I really want to talk about this because a Pluto transit is a once in a lifetime transit. People don't go through Pluto transits every day. So once you go through this, you will never experience this Pluto on your sun again in this lifetime. And so you're entering a very, very potent time in your life. And so with the sun in the 8th house, and not only do you have the sun there, you have Neptune, Uranus, Venus, the south node. You're no stranger to the 8th house energy. You know, 8th house people are usually very drawn to stuff that's below the surface, like nothing superficial, emotional truth, psychological healing, intimacy, occult practices and occult things. The hidden things of life, the hidden meanings of life, life's mysteries. Um, and with the sun in the 8th house, um, one of your kind of life paths, the mission can be like you are constantly undergoing transformations, like repeated cycles of transformation and rebirth. And this is all being extremely heightened with this Pluto transit on your sun. And Pluto transits like completely strip you down to your core identity, especially when it's on your sun, because your sun is your core identity. This is like a complete letting go of ego, you know, of things that you have maybe built up and said, this is who I am. This is Katie, and maybe up until this point, it was you, but you're coming to this point where it's like, oh, that's not me anymore, and Pluto is really asking you to strip yourself down to like the bare essential of who you are. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
You have no idea. Yes.
This is
Yeah.
like a complete letting go of, any false sense of self or false identity that you have at this time. And it can feel like pressure, and it can feel like there may be some control and power dynamics at play because that's very Plutonian. Um, but it's kind of like the coal being pressed into a diamond, and that process is not always easy. It can feel very heavy. It can feel dark, and your old coping mechanisms that you're like grasping onto aren't necessarily working in the moment because Pluto is really pushing you to transform into this next iteration of self. It's like a metamorphosis. Is that resonating with you, Katie?
1000%. I'm like, oh my God, could it get more intense? I'm kind of scared. No, I think I've had so many changes this year and my life looks completely different, and I've had to
Mhm.
let go of everything, and I already am feeling that like stripped down feeling of like who am I don't know, what do I want, I don't know, just endless, and I think too I have been feeling that confusion on like what's next, and I'm having to get
Mm.
comfortable with that, where I'm like, I genuinely don't know, but it feels like everything's just been stripped down, and I'm having to get really comfortable with just having the bare bones of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this transit can really push you into profound truth about who you are, because everything else that's not true, everything else that's, again, this false sense of identity won't last, and the truth of who you are will remain.
Mm.
And so my advice for someone going through a Pluto transit is to like get support, get a counselor, get a therapist, get a healer, whatever resonates with you. If, you feel like you do need some of that support to go through like these major profound changes that are happening in your life. Because there might be a lot of like unconscious or repressed feelings coming up to the surface during this time, and being able to like process that and digest that. But it's such a beautiful opportunity to get to the core of who you are, of what you want, of what matters in life, and that's the real diamond that comes out of this Pluto transformation process.
Yes.
Um, and the beautiful thing about astrology is that like you can know that you're going through this transit, and Pluto transits last a long time. You'll be kind of going through this 2026, 2027. And that doesn't mean that every day is going to be like so heavy and so hard. That just means that maybe that's kind of like the energy that's happening in the background. I'm not suggesting that like, you know, every day is going to be this intense, but knowing that you're kind of going through this process and that is what's happening is, I think, really helpful. And knowing that it also is going to end at some point and you're going to come out on the other side is helpful, you know?
Yes, totally. And the way that what's been carrying me through is just being like, okay, like I guess wherever I'm headed, I can't take that with me. That's been something
Yes.
really helpful. Like, okay, like I guess I'll let it go because I can't bring it with me. So yeah,
That's
it's
so beautiful. And that's
Yeah.
like such a great mantra for that. Like I love that. It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then kind of the last thing that I wanted to touch on is also you're starting your Saturn return. You know, you natally have Saturn in Aries, and Saturn just moved into Aries, and that's another just huge kind of turning point in your life. So it's another layer to this. Um, so you have Saturn in Aries and your moon in Aries in the 10th house. So really your Saturn return story is going to be a lot about your professional life and your career. Um, and your Saturn return is like your like official entryway into adulthood. And yes, I know everyone is technically an adult when they turn 18, but your Saturn return is like, okay, like you're really an adult now, and you really have to take responsibility for your life direction and your purpose. And that Saturn return is going to push you further into that. And again, your life direction and purpose has a lot to do with your career. And also with your moon there, this is also about maybe some emotional maturation, you know. And with your moon in Aries, it's like you want to go fast and go quick and move quickly through things. And with that Saturn there, it's really asking you to slow way down and like sit with your feelings and learn patience, maybe especially when it comes to um, emotional things, you know. And maybe there are different things now that you need to feel safe, secure, nurtured, held. Um, and as you get into your Saturn return, which will last until 2028, you know, that will be some of those lessons for your Saturn return.
Yeah, I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling it. I think what's been really hard and something I've been working on a lot is am I comfortable waiting a few years for what I want? And that's really hard for me because I want it tomorrow. I want it this
Aries
afternoon.
moon.
Yes. And that's something that's really hard is just obviously being a psychic, I channel for myself and meditate near constantly. And that's just what they keep coming back to is like, oh, you just have to wait a while. It's like the slow burn, slow build in regards to my career.
Mm,
And that's very uncomfortable for me. Um,
yes.
but I think it just makes perfect sense with my Saturn return.
Yes.
But yeah, just for reference too, I had the same job for over 7 years, and I essentially overnight did not have that job anymore. And I'm in like
Mm,
I had to like pivot very quickly. I'm in like a whole new field, whole new job. Um, and I'm like, okay, that Saturn returns hitting already, isn't it?
yeah.
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 Wow, for sure. Absolutely. And when you said it's uncomfortable for you, that slowness, that patience, that's like such an Aries moon thing to say. Because the moon is what makes us feel comfortable. And within Aries moon, you do have a quickness and a pace and like, okay, let's go, let's get this started, you know. And with Saturn being right on your moon, that Saturn is like, no, you cannot move quickly. We have to move very slowly, and we have to be disciplined, and we have to really be very thorough and making sure that we're building the foundation that's going to last us for the next 30 years,
Hmm.
until your next Saturn return. So this is a very pivotal time where you're building the foundation for your career, for the next 30-year cycle. So I do think that when your Saturn return is over, your career is going to look very different, than it
Hmm.
does now.
And I
Nice.
just want to
Yeah.
say with your Saturn return too, like you can pull up your Saturn return chart in human design and see what channels are illuminated and what type you are, and your profile numbers can change. And it's specifically not starting until July of 2027, but like it's normal for you to feel the energy of Saturn moving into your 10th house and having your Saturn return. But on that day, you're going to experience the energy of like, it's just another, it's kind of like a cycle conditioning, if you will. Like Saturn's going to come in and start having you feel this extra layer, like condition you. And your Saturn return chart actually makes you a 2-4 manifesting generator. You still have emotional authority, but I
What
could
does that
just
mean?
so I'm gonna get into that right
Oh,
now.
okay. I've never heard
So,
this before. This is so interesting.
so, 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 you could experience, you're a 1-3 right now. So you're, heavily into the investigating side of things and loves to explore, be hands-on. The 2-4 is the hermit slash intimate friend or networker. So I could see you kind of stepping into um, creating more networks in your community or, having new friends in some realm in some way and just feeling like you're more naturally able to build relationships easily when this comes through. And as the manifesting generator, it's gonna feel like maybe you have your hands in a lot of things and you're doing a lot of things at the same time. And maybe you have like 10 different projects that you're working on at once, like just a lot of things coming in. And it's also going to create all of these channels for you. So it's going to give you a defined G center, a defined throat, and a defined ajna center. So you're going to be expressing your voice a lot during this time. And it doesn't mean you have consistent access to this energy all the time, but you're really going to feel these different themes come in when your Saturn return hits. Um, and your cross of incarnation at this time is called the right angle cross of the Maya. And it's all about describing everything that happens in your world and like teaching details and facts and diving into the unknown and having insights about the unknown in some way. Um, so just being a manifesting generator and having that throat defined, it's just going to feel different. And I think you're going to want to inform more with that layer too. That's going to help you magnetize whatever it is that you want. It's going to draw things to you, like the more you inform during that time.
Wow, holy cow. I had no idea that was even a thing. So does
Yeah.
that carry through my whole Saturn return or is it just
So technically the way I was taught that this energy will be here, this conditioning, if you will be here until your Uranus opposition. So that's like the next big conditioning. And that happens around like 38 to 43 when Uranus is opposing where it was when you were born. And then that's like another layer of conditioning that you take until the second Saturn return. So,
interesting. Wow,
yeah.
that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So like you'll always be a 1-3 generator, but
Right.
now with the Saturn return, there's this like other layer of this 2-4 manifesting generator energy that we're kind
Yeah.
of that's also available for her to like work with and step into.
Yeah, like a flavor that, yeah, she can step
Mm,
into.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. I didn't know that either. That's so
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I'm gonna have to book a reading with you to find out what mine was and what mine is, and
Yeah.
also my Uranus return is starting,
Opposition.
yeah,
Yeah.
Uranus opposition. Um, so I want to know all about mine. I have to know.
Yeah.
I know. And it's so beautiful, Katie, that you like are aware of these modalities and that like you're getting readings and having awareness of your energy and what's happening in your life in different aspects so, you can work with it and know what's coming. Like when I was your age, I don't even think I like knew anything about astrology? So I just admire you that you're doing that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I don't know how people don't. even like check their horoscope. I'm like, what do you mean? Like you don't just like feel weird and you're like, oh, what are the stars doing? Or, and I think human design especially has been literally since I found out about it, such a pivotal way for me to make decisions and like check myself and be really tuned in with myself too. Cause like I don't know how people, I mean, I guess some people just aren't into it, but it's just so valuable,
Yeah.
I don't know how people don't. They're like just out there going through life. And I'm like, what do you mean? You don't even know your moon sign?
I know. I don't get it either. Like, I truly don't. Like, these tools are so invaluable to me, and
Yeah.
like being able to like process what I'm going through or how I'm feeling, that I don't know how people who don't have the vocabulary of human design or of astrology, like, how do you even compartmentalize that in your brain or know? It's just such a helpful tool for me
Mhm.
to have.
Yes. And even at my day job, Mercury's been retrograde. And I just want to be like, guys, like you definitely should have triple checked that contract because Mercury's retrograde. Of course you missed that, like, but I don't know how people just don't even, they're just not aware. I'm like, it's so helpful.
I know. I know. So true.
If I could count the times that I wanted to say, well, Mercury's in retrograde, like at my job.
Oh, I would. I did. And people thought I was insane. But you know what? People can think that. People definitely make fun of me, I think. But I don't know. Just who I am.
Yes, yes, we love it.
Yeah. Any questions about your birth chart or your astrology or your transits or anything that
Um, no, that was all so good and very validating. And I've felt all of that in some capacity. I will say, I feel like I've been so stripped down this year already. It makes me nervous for the rest of for the Pluto transit and my Saturn return. I'm like, how much more? Like, how much more do you want? Um, so I think, but it's really helpful and really valuable to know. That way I can continue to lean in and work with it, even though really I'm like, can this be over?
Yeah, I know. Well, I wonder if it does have something to do with like your gifts too, and like deepening that or going through like another level of that or, because that all is happening in your eighth house. Yeah, interesting. And I do also wonder if it does have something to do with your finances because your sun rules your second house of money and income. And we do have Jupiter in Leo going in there next July.
Mm.
Um, and then we also do have the South Node eclipses happening in Leo there, and the North Node eclipses in Aquarius. So I mean there's a lot, but I wonder if it does have something to do with like tied to your money and your income. But it does look like there's maybe a change in terms of finances, but an increase in a good way with Jupiter there. So
Yeah, God willing. Because it's interesting you say all of that because I stepped away from doing readings for a while. And then I was like, I just want a stable 9 to 5 with insurance and da da da. And then I had that, and then now I'm like, oh, I don't want that ever again. Like, oh, get away from me. So 100%. Like I'm like, there's a lot shifting and a lot changing. Yeah. So that's good to hear. Thank you. That feels
yeah,
very like calming.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is in general, like it's a very empowering time, for you to kind of like really get very clear about who you are, your core identity, what your true values are,
Mhm.
in life, and move forward from a much more heart-centered space, with that Pluto transit. And I think that is the beauty of a Pluto transit and what that offers you. So I hope that brings you some peace and calmness and knowing that.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was so much fun, Katie.
Yes, thank you guys so much. This was so good.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. This was really fun. I'm glad we were able to connect again. And yeah, where can people find you and learn more about what you do?
Yes. Okay. So, right now I'm really just doing what I call my mini readings, which I always joke is like a voice note from your best friend. It's recorded. You can ask questions or ask for a general reading, but I just sit down and yap into a voice memo for like 20 minutes and then I email it to you. The best place to find me is Instagram at Katie Serbeck. I typically do sell out of the mini readings pretty fast. So I always tell people to watch my stories because that's where I post when I restock them. It's the best place to find me and get more info.
Yeah, wonderful. And thank you again. This has been so fun. And just thanks, Katie, for coming on. This
Yeah,
is
thank you.
really cool.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I love everything you guys are doing.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. All right.
All right. Have a good day.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.